WWE officially hands Roman Reigns' stable a new name following SmackDown reunion. Roman Reigns and the Usos have been reunited for several weeks, and there have been rumors that the group would be called the OG Bloodline, with Solo Sikoa also having his own bloodline on Friday Night SmackDown. Following Sami Zayn's reunion with the group this past week on SmackDown, it seems that WWE has now officially unveiled plans for Roman and Co. to be called the OG Bloodline moving forward. WWE's latest merchandise shows that the stable will be called by this name moving forward, noting that the OG Bloodline is finally back together. Interestingly, the new design was shared by Paul Heyman on his Instagram stories, which was ironic since he was also a major member of the OG Bloodline. The legendary manager was Reigns Wiseman during the latter's reign as the Tribal Chief. Paul Heyman has been backstage at WWE SmackDown in recent weeks and has been spotted with Roman Reigns since his return. That being said, the Hall of Famer has yet to return to television, shocking fans who believed Heyman would be an integral part of the current feud after he was attacked by Solo Sikoa's bloodline earlier this June. While the OTC is at a disadvantage, it makes sense for Heyman to be kept away so that the latter isn't assaulted again. At the same time, it's hard to imagine Heyman with a babyface Reigns. Heyman worked closely with Brock Lesnar when the Beast was a heel, but when the former UFC star turned face, it was clear that Paul was no longer needed. The same could be the case here with Roman Reigns. On a recent episode of WWE SmackDown, fans were buzzing as Roman Reigns' faction made its much-anticipated return with a surprising twist, a new name. Reigns' stable has been an iconic part of WWE storytelling, captivating audiences with its blend of dominance, loyalty, and intensity. After months of speculation, the group, once known as the Bloodline, was rebranded, marking a fresh chapter in the saga of Reigns and his crew. This rebranding aims to emphasize the group's evolution and adapt to the shifts that have occurred within its ranks. Here's a deep dive into what led to this change, what it means for WWE, and how fans are responding to the new name. The Bloodline faction was founded on the premise of family loyalty, heritage, and Reigns' journey to establish his dominance as the Tribal Chief in WWE. He was joined by his cousins, the Usos, Jimmy and Jey Uso, and later Solo Sikoa, with Paul Heyman acting as his wise man and advisor. Together, they became an unstoppable force on SmackDown, holding championships, dictating matches, and establishing a reign of terror that spanned over 3 years. Roman Reigns' dominance as the undisputed WWE Universal Champion was unparalleled. His presence as the head of the Bloodline redefined the landscape of WWE, blending the spectacle of wrestling with themes of family, betrayal, and loyalty. Fans watched as Reigns exerted his influence over his cousins, using their loyalty to secure victories and uphold his rule. However, over time, cracks began to show within the Bloodline. As success and power continued to rise, so did tension and internal conflict, particularly with Jey and Jimmy Uso, leading to intense confrontations, family drama, and ultimately, separation. The tensions reached a breaking point earlier this year when Jey Uso left the Bloodline after a series of betrayals. Soon after, Jimmy also left, leading to the faction's temporary dissolution. But like all legendary WWE stories, Reigns' faction would not be put to rest so easily. The WWE Universe was left wondering if the Bloodline's legacy would fade, or if it would transform into something even greater. In the lead-up to WWE SmackDown last Friday, rumors began swirling about a reunion for Roman Reigns and his allies. Fans were excited to see how WWE would bring back Reigns' faction, especially after the dramatic departures of the Usos. True to WWE's reputation for surprises, Reigns, Solo Sikoa, and Paul Heyman walked into the arena with a mysterious confidence. Their chemistry remained strong, and there was an undeniable sense that something big was about to unfold. When Reigns took to the ring, he addressed the past struggles and conflicts within the Bloodline, acknowledging the betrayal, heartbreak, and the evolution that the group had undergone. Then he dropped the bombshell. The Bloodline was no more, but the legacy would continue under a new name, the Dynasty. The crowd erupted with mixed emotions, realizing that this was the beginning of a new era. This name change marks a strategic shift for Reigns' faction. While the Bloodline emphasized family and legacy, the Dynasty suggests an empire built on power and influence, reaching beyond just blood ties. Reigns described the Dynasty as more than a family. It's a representation of dominance, respect, and above all, legacy, one that transcends any individual member. The rebranding to the Dynasty implies that Reigns' faction is moving from a family-centered narrative to one that emphasizes hierarchy, authority, and a more calculated approach to dominance. Roman Reigns, as the leader of the Dynasty, is not just a tribal chief anymore but now likened to a monarch overseeing an empire, with Heyman and Solo Sikoa as his most trusted advisors. This new moniker also indicates a broadening of the faction's potential membership. While the Bloodline was firmly based on family ties, the Dynasty opens the door to anyone who can contribute to its power, status, and influence. Reigns alluded to this by mentioning that the Dynasty will welcome anyone who understands and respects the legacy they're building. The shift from the Bloodline to the Dynasty could bring in fresh faces and potentially a new crop of allies for Reigns. This pivot allows WWE Creative the freedom to include individuals who were previously outside the family storyline, perhaps even wrestlers from other factions or promotions, provided they align with Reigns' goals. WWE fans are already speculating about potential recruits, with names like Braun Breaker and even other rising stars who could amplify the Dynasty's power. As expected, fan reactions were intense. Some fans expressed nostalgia, fondly remembering the days of the Bloodline and the impact it had on WWE. For many, the Bloodline represented a unique chapter in WWE history, where a faction based on family ties dominated in a way that hadn't been seen in years. Others, however, are thrilled with the new name and see it as an opportunity for the story to evolve in new directions. The change to the Dynasty has sparked discussions about where the faction might go from here. Many fans see this as WWE's way of future-proofing Reigns' character and expanding his influence across WWE. The name The Dynasty is broader, more powerful, and suggests longevity. A group that isn't just bound by family, but by shared ambitions. This transition also leaves room for the Usos to create their own path in WWE. With Jimmy and Jay now distanced from their cousin's faction, they can explore new partnerships, challenges, and individual storylines. WWE is known for weaving long-term, intricate storylines, and this name change could play into a potential clash between the Usos and the Dynasty, creating intense rivalries and dramatic confrontations. With Reigns, Heyman, and Sikoa leading the Dynasty, the faction has set its sights on a renewed period of domination. WWE has already teased that this new phase will see Reigns' character taking a more strategic and ruthless approach. Rather than focusing solely on defending the championship, the Dynasty could aim to seize control over SmackDown and possibly Raw, challenging any faction or individual who dares oppose them. Fans can also expect WWE to delve deeper into Roman Reigns' evolution as the leader of the Dynasty. His character has grown immensely since his heel turn in 2020, and the Dynasty is an opportunity for him to further refine his tribal chief persona into something even more menacing, perhaps even challenging the authority of WWE itself. The faction might even consider broadening its influence outside WWE. There's been speculation about crossover matches with stars from NXT or other wrestling promotions. With the Dynasty, Reigns could assert that he's not just the best in WWE, but the greatest in professional wrestling worldwide. WWE has always thrived on iconic stables and factions, from DX to The Shield to the Bloodline, and now the Dynasty. By rebranding Reigns' faction, WWE has reinvigorated one of its most compelling storylines. Reigns, with the WWE Universal Championship in hand, will now represent a dynasty that's bigger than just one family, it's an empire. This name change also opens up countless narrative opportunities, such as rivalries with factions like the Judgment Day, which could lead to epic confrontations. In the end, the Dynasty is more than just a new name. It represents an evolution of Roman Reigns' character, one that has resonated deeply with fans and transcended traditional wrestling storytelling. As Reigns and his allies stand tall under the banner of the Dynasty, WWE has solidified a new era in its storytelling. With Reigns at the helm, this faction will continue to dominate, inspire, and entertain fans for years to come.